Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and very warm welcome to the show. My name is Anthony, and of course, this is the point where we get to discuss different policy issues and see that we actually inform the policymakers and advise on specific policies that should be implemented for us to see and realize economic growth in our country. Now, it's evident, of course, by the different statistics that Uganda's key problem, especially for the youth, is unemployment. And there's no scarcity in the initiatives that have been put in place by the government of Uganda to address the problem of unemployment. In recent years, well-mentioned donors have also established programs in the country in order to help people to get to work. However, statistics still remain that Uganda's net unemployment rate is at 9.2%. And particularly when you look at the youth, it currently stands at 13.3%. And when I talk about the youth, it's people aged between the age of 18 and 30 or 35. And this stands currently at about 13.3%. Although these, of course, figures are high, there have been rates, of course, that have not been verified. And there are numbers that actually are beyond this. And of course, this is based on the number of people who are employed formally. And so when we get to formal employment, the numbers could actually be escalated. But we've talked about the problem of unemployment so much, and we are seeking solutions. What are some of the viable solutions that can be brought on the table for us to solve this problem? And of course, joining me for this discussion are experts who have been able to make, of course, some solutions out of course, the problems that have been brought on the table by unemployment. And I have Mr. Karanzi Nabeta, who is the Executive Director of Management Training Advisory Center, famously known as MTAC. You're most welcome, Mr. Nabeta.
Yeah, thank you, our host. It's always a privilege to be part of your program. And good evening, our viewers and listeners, if they are there.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
I'm also joined by Mr. Andrew Walusimbi, who is the Manager Membership of the Uganda Small Scale Industries Association. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, our viewers. My name is Andrew Walusimbi, and I'm from Uganda Small Scale Industries Association.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. But based on these figures, of course, these are numbers that are hypothetical because we know that people employed in the formal sector could actually be beyond these. And this is a very worrying situation. But from your experience working with people who are unemployed, I understand all these institutions were started in order to create opportunities for young people. What do you think when we diagnose the problem of unemployment? What do you think are the gaps? Where haven't we actually reached out? How have we not actually tapped into the potential, which we have about 78% being young people who are expected to be productive, efficient, and bringing together their brains to see that they innovate? Where are the gaps? And I'll start with Mr. Nabeta here on this one.
Thank you, our host. You ask a very pertinent question. Where are the gaps in terms of the skyrocketing unemployment rates in the country? First things first, understanding the problem and talking about it is the biggest step towards solving this particular problem. So for me, the more the unemployment problem is talked about and shouted on, then the better for us as a country. There are many excuses that have been given, but most commentators want to rush towards portioning this blame to lack of skills. I don't want to belong to that group that talks about lack of skills. I could talk about skills mismatch. And whenever they are talking about skills, they tend to focus more on what I call higher level skills, talk about technical skills. But for anybody to be employable, you need 3 or 4 sets of skills. You need the life skills. You need the attitudinal skills, isn't it? Some of these are not really sophisticated. You need the basic skills, computer skills, information analysis skills, and then the technical skills depending on the kind of sector you fall in and you're interested in. So for me, I think, yes, there are many reasons as to why our unemployment rate is high, especially amongst the youth, and skills mismatch is one of the reasons. So you find people having a particular set of skills for opportunities that are not existing in the country. The population has been growing, yes, at a supersonic rate, but the rate of private sector growth has not been matching the population growth, for instance. But it's also true when you talk of skills mismatch, you also find some people who are technically skilled but lack the attitudinal skills. They are not patient. They do not have the right attitude for the kind of job opportunities that are available. And this has been historical. Right away from the 70s, the 60s, our attitude, for instance, as a country, generally, towards vocational skills. Yeah? So we kept emphasizing to our children about training them for the white-collar jobs, which is good. It's good to have white-collar jobs, but it's not good to emphasize a certain set of opportunities at the expense of the other. So we did not focus on vocational skills at the time, and partly this is the reason we are having this crisis. But I'm happy that this is an issue that was identified largely by the National Development Plan 3 and put emphasis on vocational training to provide opportunities to people to discover themselves, and pursue those opportunities where they have got passion. I could have it at that.
Well, Mr. Nabeta, the question of the skills, you claim that actually the skills are, because we do have over a million people released into the job market every single year, from universities, tertiary institutions, vocational institutions. But on all these skill sets, which one do you think is most lacking? Because these are some people have first-class degrees. There's a student from Chambogo who committed suicide. They had a first-class degree, and for over 4 years, they searched for a job, and they couldn't find it. So you could not say this person is not skilled, for example, technically.
You're good with me.
Which skill set do you think we have not paid much attention to?
Okay. I still think that they have the skills. That's why I said skills mismatch. The skills they have do not match with the existing opportunities in the market. I've hinted about the raw private sector growth in terms of providing employment opportunities. You very well know that formally the public sector is still the largest employer, and for any developed country, any country to really develop, you need the private sector to play a key role, a leading role in providing employment opportunities. But it's also true that in terms of the higher skills, call them the technical skills, especially in the manufacturing and the like, we are not yet there as a country. And that's why you find that some opportunities have come up, for instance, in the oil and gas sector, and as a country, we have ended up having people, imported from for skills like welding, because the ones we have, you find that majority are not certified. And these international companies are not going to employ you are not internationally certified. So people may even be having the skills but cannot prove internationally with the certification that they require. So I think the biggest skill set that we lack are the technical skills amongst the youth, amongst the graduates generally.
So Mr. Olusimbi, I would like to bring you here on this point. You work with Small Scale Industries Association, Uganda, and of course you've met young people, how innovative they are, how much they start up businesses. But as well, statistics show the faster we start these businesses, they actually fall on the same speed. So where do you think is the problem? Why are young people still facing unemployment, regardless of the fact that they are skilled and they have the entrepreneurial minds?
Thank you so much. I want to say that it all starts with policy. And I'm very happy that government is really refocusing within the BTVET policy and looking at the dual system approach, where our people really need to have both sets of practical but also the theoretical part of it. If we focus on that, you'll find that more people, as much as we're training our people to have white-collar jobs, they will be actually changing to thinking of starting their own enterprises. And this is where we talk about employable skills. As a country, we need to know what is working for us as a country. Which skills do we need? So the employable skills now make it easier for these young people to get absorbed into the world of work. Secondly, my colleague talked about the life skills. But for me, I think it's more than that. The attitude is quite a bit wrong for these young people, thinking of I need to get fast, but technical and vocational education needs a lot of time to master the game. And when you look at our country also, from the parents themselves, we keep telling our people, you need to get that job, but we don't emphasize the need for them to start business. So this continues to bring on the unemployment bit in these young people. And lastly, when these young people are going into these education systems, be it the TVET education, be it the formal education, you look at the certification bit at the end of the day. Most of them have gone to universities, and they're coming out with these papers, and they get jobs. And they don't have the communication skills. They can't write a CV. And this creates a lot of a challenge within the employers, which is the private sector. So we need to change and look at the certification we give, which needs to be a bit based on the practical bit, the competence bit. And this is where most of our people are losing out, especially now, like we talked about the oil and gas sector. They don't have the papers to show the competence of what they can be able to do. And this is a mismatch, and then you'll see a lot of importation of labor into the country. So we need to critically look at some of those structures in place to see that we support our young people.
Well, government has tried to put up, for example, initiatives like the parish development model. We had the youth livelihood program. So many programs, different names, but almost the same goal. They have tried to see that they employ, rather they give a chance to actually young people to see that they realize their potential. But you're talking about, for example, businesses, starting up businesses being one of the key missing gaps. One of the excuses young people say, they have no capital, they don't have where to start from, and so they cry out to government at least to give them a starting point. Do you agree with the fact that we actually still lack that starting point when it comes to especially the entrepreneurial skills?
Basically, I would not agree with that. As a country, we're so resourced. We have the best opportunities on the ground. However, I think we're targeting the wrong people. Like I talked about the attitude. The young people expect that we need to be given. For me, I think it's a wrong concept, especially if you're to start a business. A business is like a baby. You need to really grow it. So as much as we have these programs that are giving out these handouts to these young people, we need to look at which kind of skills do they have, from the technical skills, to entrepreneurship skills, to the business management, financial literacy, that will support these young people to grow these businesses. When you come to these handouts from government, you'll find that they just make a group of people and you give them the money. However, where is the sustainability of this? So we are saying, if we have some of these initiatives in place, we need to look at a youth or a group of youth who are actually having those kind of skill sets we're talking about, from the technical to the entrepreneurship bit, and they can be supported into finance. There is no business that is going to be supported with finance without some of the requirements. For example, business plan. Do they have that? Do they have the cash flows? Which products are they making? Are these products needed onto the market? Will they be absorbed into the market? So we ought to support these young people now as they start business to understand better what they are going into, because business is a competition. You're not there alone. We have, for example, now Africa is open to African Free Continental Area. How ready are these young people before even we think about the capital? So for me, I think as a country and the young people, we need to think about entrepreneurship in a different way. How do I start? How do I get? Is it all about the money? Is it the resource that I need? Maybe not. Okay? Yeah. Maybe what I need to start a business are the interactions, you know. I can have a family member get into my business and put in some money. So do I have an idea put down? So there are areas that we need to look at.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olusimbi. We're going to take a very short commercial break. And ladies and gentlemen, when we return, the youth have tried their best. And of course, 1 million graduates are released every single year into the job market, which has only 90,000 jobs, close to that. And amongst these, some have decided actually to seek labor opportunities abroad, going to work in the Middle East, especially with over 350,000 in just Saudi Arabia. You can imagine that, Ugandans living in these conditions. And of course, this is due to lack of opportunity back home, but also the fact that the education system did not give them probably what they needed for the job market. So when we return, we want to look at our education system. Is it in line with the current economic problems, with the current demands of employment in the country or not? Stay with us. This is The Point.